Hey guys, this week I'm going to show you how to reimagine another recipe with our spiced nuts. So this is my spiced nut crusted salmon. It's so delicious. It's reusing a recipe that we already made. I have some fresh wild caught coho salmon, which has less fat, so I cook it for a little bit less time. But it's going to be delicious. We got mustard, parsley, spiced nuts. Can't go wrong with that. Let's do this. So let's get our parsley chopped up. This is Italian flat leaf parsley. We're going to use about 1.5 tablespoons and also some extra for garnishing. So let's get this all chopped up nicely. I love using fresh herbs whenever possible. You can totally use dried herbs, but I just think the flavor and the color of the fresh herbs is worth it. It's also really nice to add thyme to this, but to keep it simple, I like using Italian flat leaf parsley. Also, fresh herbs do last for a while in your fridge if it's not basil. Basil and mint. Those take a little extra care. Thyme and parsley, rosemary, those are some good workhorse fresh herbs. Okay, this is looking great. We're going to add 1.5 tablespoons. And then let's just keep this to the side because we're going to use that as garnish. So now we're going to add about 1/4 cup of mustard. I love a lot of mustard. You can do a little bit less. I usually do 1/4 cup. So now we're going to chop up 1 cup of our spiced nuts. Whenever I make recipes using these spiced nuts, it just adds a depth of flavor that's really unusual. And it also just adds like this kind of cold winter flair. I just love it. Okay, so I'm eyeballing this, but if we want to measure it, this should be about 1 cup. Let's add a couple more. It's a little over, but I love these nuts, so I'm just going to use it. So we're going to chop these up. You want them pretty small because it's going to go on top of the salmon. You can also just put these in some kind of plastic baggie or maybe a paper baggie and just smash it. I'm doing the more graceful way for you guys. So you want them pretty small because you want them to stick to the salmon. I love a recipe that can be reimagined, and this spiced nuts, like, oh my gosh, just as a little nashi or the pesto that I make, and now on top of fish. This is also really good on top of halibut or cod. Oh, so good. Okay, that's looking pretty good. If you want it more fine, by all means, chop it up more. I actually like getting a big chunk of like a pecan on there, so this is good for how I like it. So now we're gonna add 1 tablespoon to our mustard parsley mix. And then we're gonna rub this onto our salmon. Look at how beautiful that looks though. The mustard with the parsley. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so delicious. So now we're gonna take this, and if you have any kind of brush at home, I actually don't, so I'm gonna have to use a spoon. But if you have a brush at home, you can brush this onto your fish. So here's a coho salmon. So whenever I'm doing fish or poultry, I like to put it on a different board, some kind of plastic or silicone or something, so you can throw it into the dishwasher and sterilize it. So that's why this is on a separate board than my wood. Okay, so I find that fish can take quite a bit of salt. So I'm just gonna put some salt and pepper on here, and then we're gonna put our mixture on top of it. I always use fresh ground black pepper. So now we're just gonna take our mixture, and you can either brush it on or just wipe it on. You don't have to be precious about it because this is all gonna cook onto the salmon and be covered with the spicy nuts. It's just about getting that flavor on there. And salmon and mustard, parsley with spiced nuts, come on. Sounds amazing. And it tastes amazing. So make sure that's nice and covered. That's like the perfect amount, look at that. Okay, so now I like putting the fish on the tray first that I'm going to cook it on and then put the nuts because the nuts inevitably will kind of spill off. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil on here. Little dab will do ya. If you have olive oil spray, you can also just spray a bit on there. Okay, great. Just going with my hands. Okay, there's 1, 2. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. Make sure your oven is preheating to 400. If you're using a king salmon or a fattier piece of the salmon, you can use probably 425. This is coho, so I'm gonna do 400. I don't wanna overcook it. So now we're just gonna press our spiced nut mix onto our fish. Oh my gosh, it's so decadent. I love it. Guys, this is looking pretty beautiful. Okay, great. So now I'm gonna wash my hands and we're gonna pop this in the oven. In the oven we go. So let's set a timer for 10 minutes and then we're gonna check it. Okay, our timer just went off. Oh my gosh, that's so beautiful. Guys, look. Okay, so now what I like to do is I cooked the fish for 10 minutes. I'm just gonna tint it and I'm gonna let it rest because it'll continue to cook. Tent it with a little bit of foil and I'm gonna let it sit for about 5 minutes and then I'll plate it. Yum. Okay. Oh my gosh, that looks so good. So I'm gonna plate one of these. Show you guys how gorgeous this looks. That parsley that we chopped earlier. Oh my goodness. Guys, look at how awesome that looks. Let's taste it. You guys, it's perfectly cooked. I gotta show this to you. That's beautiful. It's crunchy. It's so rich. It tastes so rich. The salmon is cooked perfectly. The spiced nuts on top really add a beautiful depth of flavor. With just a couple extra steps, you can really elevate just everyday food like this. Oh my gosh. Amazing. I can't wait for you guys to try this. Please let me know. If you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications so you know when I put up another video. And I'll see you guys soon. Oh my gosh. Yum.